At least 160,000 people are going to be booted off Australia's National Disability Support Program, the NDIS, by 2030, with more than 100,000 others barred from joining. Health Minister Mark Butler just announced that eligibility rules for the NDIS will be tightened over the coming years. Everyone on the scheme will be reassessed and those with lower support needs will be moved off. Why? Well, the NDIS is now the third largest cost to the Australian budget and it's only getting bigger. Last year it grew by 10%. And the government says that unavoidable and urgent cuts are needed to keep it functioning. According to Butler, that means forcing the growth rate all the way down to 2% for the next 4 years, which is well below inflation, so functionally a budget cut. Some of the more immediate changes include reducing funding for social and community participation and making it harder to get your plan reassessed, aka your funding boosted ahead of schedule.
I also want to be honest about the fact that there will be some areas where there is a material impact on participants.
Butler says this is to help the scheme return to its
original intent.
But what was that? Basically, before the NDIS, Australia's disability support system was a hodgepodge of super inconsistent programs all run by the states, and lots of people were falling through the gaps. So the government created the National Disability Insurance Scheme to patch those holes and to help ensure that support was consistent for those with permanent severe disabilities all across the country. But once the NDIS was in place, a lot of those state support services began shutting down. More and more people, even those with lower support needs, were left with no choice but to join the NDIS. And bit by bit, the scheme became less of a patch and more of a whole cloth replacement. A cloth that was never designed to hold this many people's weight. So while most people do agree that yes, something does need to change, when Butler says that those kicked off the scheme should
return to the sorts of support systems that were in place before the NDIS,
most of those systems simply don't exist anymore. Now, back in 2023, state, territory and federal governments did all agree to a joint $10 billion investment over 5 years to replace some of those systems. But that doesn't even come close to matching the massive cuts announced this week. Also, just a quick reminder, the government does plan to spend up to $368 billion over the next 30 years on nuclear submarines.